It knows where they are. The USS Frank E. Peterson and USS Michael Murphy crossed the Strait of Hormuz on April 11, 2026, not to clear mines, to prove the transit was survivable. CENTCOM confirmed it within hours. Knifefish unmanned vehicles began searching the seabed. Allied European mine countermeasure vessels from France, Britain, Germany, and Italy were converging on the region. On April 22, 2026, the Pentagon told Congress it would take 6 months to fully clear the Strait of Hormuz of Iranian mines, and then said something that stopped every shipping executive, energy analyst, and defense reporter in the world cold. Any full mine-clearing operation is unlikely to begin until hostilities between the United States and Iran have ended. Read that again. The Navy has the ships. The drones are in the water. The Allied coalition is assembled. The mine locations are being mapped. And the Pentagon told Congress the operation will not begin in earnest until the war stops. Over 2,000 vessels are anchored in or unable to reach the Persian Gulf. Oil hit $166 per barrel. Global food security is straining because 40 to 50% of seaborne urea fertilizer transits Hormuz. The economic damage accumulates every single day the mines stay in the water. And the Navy is waiting, not because it cannot clear the mines, because clearing them now would cost the United States something worth more than mine removal. The only economic lever compressing Iran toward the negotiating table in Islamabad. The mines are not a problem to be solved. They are a weapon being wielded. And right now, the United States is wielding them alongside Iran. April 14, 1988. USS Samuel B. Roberts struck an Iranian M08 contact mine in the Persian Gulf. The detonation blew a 15-foot hole through the hull, cracked the keel, 10 sailors injured. The ship sent to protect the convoy had to be saved by the convoy. Cost of the mine, $1,500. Cost of repairs, $89.5 million. Ratio, 60,000 to 1. 4 days later, Operation Praying Mantis, the largest U.S. surface engagement since World War II. The Navy did not respond by clearing more mines. It responded by destroying the Iranian naval platforms that made the mine threat possible. The lesson was institutional. You do not solve a mine problem by removing mines. You solve it by removing the conditions that allow mines to be placed. Carry that lesson forward 38 years. Iran placed between 1,000 and 3,000 mines in and around Hormuz since February 28, 2026. The difference between 1988 and 2026 is not capability. It is that in 2026, the United States discovered that not clearing the mines is itself a strategic option, and a more powerful one than clearing them. Here is the question nobody in the public debate is asking correctly. The Navy has 7 mine countermeasure vessels. LCS ships with MCM packages are in the region. Avenger-class minesweepers are steaming from Japan. Knifefish drones are in the water. The technology exists. The ships are there. Why won't the Navy use them? Because the mine-cleared strait is worth less to the United States right now than the mine-threatened strait. The mines are doing something to Iran's negotiating position that 13,000 airstrikes and a destroyed Navy could not do alone. The question was never whether the Navy could clear the mines. It was whether clearing them serves the strategy. Right now, the answer is no. Enemy Decoded doesn't just track what the Navy is doing. It calculates why the Navy is choosing not to do the thing everyone assumes it is desperately trying to do. This is the equation underneath the headline. Stay with us. Iran lost track of some of the mines it planted. Wikipedia's Live Hormuz Crisis page reported it directly. Iran lost track of mines it planted in the Strait of Hormuz and is therefore unable to fully open the strait even if it wanted to. When Iran announced on April 17th that the strait would open during the truce, IRGC gunboats were firing on tankers within 18 hours. The strait reclosed. Iran could not honor the opening it promised because its own mines were beyond operational control. This transforms the mine threat from a weapon Iran can toggle into a persistent condition neither side can unilaterally resolve. The United States is the only party capable of certified clearance, and it has decided that the timeline of that clearance is a negotiating instrument. 80% of Iranian oil exports transit the Persian Gulf. The U.S. naval blockade declared April 13th, combined with the mine threat keeping commercial shipping away from the strait, created a dual blockade. Iran is blockading the world. The U.S. is blockading Iran. The mines Iran placed to deny U.S. economic access are now contributing to the denial of Iranian economic access to global markets. Iran built the mine strategy to impose costs on the United States. The United States flipped it. The weapon became the trap. The obvious answer: begin clearing immediately. Every day of delay costs the global economy billions. Start now. 3 reasons the obvious answer fails. The first is operational. An LCS conducting clearing operations is slow, predictable, and minimally defended against IRGC, fast boats, drones, and shore-based threats still active in the strait. A minesweeper sunk while clearing takes its clearing capability to the bottom with it. The second is verification. The Naval Institute's April 2026 proceedings stated the core problem precisely. The discovery of just one mine in the Strait of Hormuz would compel interested parties to assume there are many more. Insurance underwriters will not reopen Hormuz transits for partial clearance. They need certified proof of absence across the entire corridor. Impossible to provide while the conditions for additional mining still exist. The third is strategic. Energy Secretary Chris Wright confirmed it. The Hormuz closure is the primary coercive lever against Tehran. The moment the U.S. begins comprehensive clearing, it removes the economic pressure moving Iran toward Islamabad. Clearing the mines prematurely is not solving the problem. It is surrendering the leverage. The mine clearing delay is not a military failure. It is a strategic choice dressed in the language of operational constraint. Vice Admiral Daryl Caudle at the April 22nd Sea Air Space Exposition. Mine warfare traditionally requires a permissive environment. The future is unmanned. That sentence contains the unexpected answer, and it is not what most analysts are discussing. The Knifefish unmanned underwater vehicle maps minefields without putting a human crew in the water. The common unmanned surface vehicle tows sonar across a clearing corridor under small boat harassment that would abort a crewed operation. The Remus 600 operates in depths the Avenger-class cannot safely reach. Together, they create a mine-clearing architecture that does not require sea control in the way Iran's doctrine assumed. Iran's denial strategy was designed for crewed minesweepers that need a permissive environment to operate. The unmanned architecture removes the human from the threat, and in doing so, removes the constraint Iran built its entire doctrine around. The 6-month timeline is a ceiling built for crewed systems. The unmanned systems are already operating. The actual clearance timeline, once the political decision is made, may be considerably shorter. The Hormuz crisis is running in 4 domains simultaneously. Diplomatically, the Islamabad talks. The 6-month timeline holds over Iranian decision-makers as a countdown Tehran cannot stop and cannot accelerate. Militarily, the dual blockade. Iranian exports cannot move because U.S. naval forces intercept them. Commercial shipping cannot enter because the mines are there. Both conditions reinforce the same economic pressure from different directions. Coalitionally, France, Britain, Germany, and Italy bring additional sonar, additional unmanned systems, and the political legitimacy to make a multilateral clearance operation significantly harder for Iran to characterize as American aggression. Technologically, the unmanned systems are running continuous surveys right now. When the clearance order comes, the US will not be starting from zero. The homework is already done. Iran built its mine warfare doctrine across 30 years. It miscalculated three things. Control. Iran assumed it could toggle the mine threat, place them, demonstrate capability, offer removal as a negotiating concession. The operational chaos of deploying 1,000 to 3,000 mines under wartime pressure eliminated that control. The April 17th truce failed within 18 hours, not because Iran broke it deliberately, but because the conditions on the water were outside Iranian command authority. The US response. Iran's model assumed Washington would treat clearance as an urgent priority, that economic pain would create irresistible pressure to restore normalcy fast. The 2026 US Navy looked at the mine threat, calculated the leverage it provided, and decided to wait. Iran's doctrine had no contingency for a United States that found the closed strait strategically useful. Technology. Iran's denial strategy was designed for crude minesweepers requiring permissive conditions. The Knifefish and CUSV were not a significant factor in Iranian doctrine development. Iran spent 30 years building a weapon designed to stop an operation that has already started, without the conditions Iran assumed were required. The mine count is an estimate. Between 1,000 and 3,000, a range of 2,000, reflects the limits of surveillance against a deployment conducted at night in shallow coastal waters. The actual number could compress or extend the clearance timeline significantly. Whether Iran genuinely lost control of the mines or whether that narrative is itself strategic signaling is unresolved. A government that publicly admits it cannot manage its own weapons signals weakness simultaneously to every adversary and every ally. But if Iran wants the US to delay clearance for its own reasons, claiming it cannot clear them is a useful position to hold. The Islamabad track is incomplete. Iran declined to attend on April 22nd. If the talks collapse, the US faces a choice its current posture is deferring. Begin clearing under contested conditions or maintain the standoff indefinitely. At some point, the mines will be cleared, with or without a settlement. The question is under what conditions and at what cost to the platforms that conduct the operation. The Knifefish is running surveys right now. The CUSV is towing sonar across corridors the Avenger-class cannot safely reach. The coalition is assembled and waiting. Three things the Hormuz crisis confirmed. A $1,500 mine can hold a $100 billion global shipping corridor closed. Iran lost control of the weapon it used to close it. And the United States decided that a closed strait, for now, is worth more than an open one, because the economic pressure it creates is the only force moving Iran toward Islamabad. The mines are not a problem to be solved. They are a weapon being wielded. And the side wielding them right now is not the side that put them in the water. Enemy Decoded explains what others won't.